This week's episode, Women in Sports Pay Disparity. Coming up.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go.
Welcome to Misbehaving Women, where we unapologetically dive into the issues that matter most to women, from wellness to feminism and everything in between. No sugarcoating, no filter.
We're here to spark conversations about the real life challenges we face, the topics that often get swept under the rug, and the ones men need to hear about if they want to truly support the women in their lives.
I'm Kelli Taylor, a best-selling author, award-winning acupuncturist, and hormone coach for women's health. I'm passionate about helping women live their best and healthiest lives.
I'm Rebecca McMillan, founder of Worthfulness.com, an online self-guided program that teaches teen girls and young women real tools and concepts they use to support unshakable self-worth for life. Together we're here to shake things up and have some...
Oh, I made some real. Sorry. Okay, so
do that again.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Together, we're here to shake things up and have some real, no BS conversations.
I think there's a lot of people who are pretty surprised by what we said.
But a lot of people still using tampons, which I do feel, if we did anything with this podcast, is letting women realize stop using tampons right now. That research was terrifying.
Interesting to also, I think more younger people are using the tampons.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big market for them.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't care.
About the chemicals in their body?
Yeah. Well, I think they don't. I think the feedback that I got was like, I'm not giving up my tampon.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, you don't have to. That's not the point.
That's your choice. Yeah.
That's not the point of this.
Oh, interesting.
Podcast. In any way is to change people's minds. We're just bringing up
Conversation starter, yeah.
so that people can make choices for themselves. And
it
should be, when you make choices, I want you to come from an informed place.
Yeah.
So we're just throwing out facts to you. You do whatever you want to do with it.
You're right about the teens, because the other day I bought, I got influenced to get press-on nails, because I can't go to the salon. I used to get gel nails. Since I had a baby, that's not happening. But sometimes I like to have my nails done. Yes. So I got the press-ons at London Drugs, and they were locked up. And I said to the woman, do you need to lock up the $14, press-on nails? Like, what's this? She said, oh, the teens, they steal them. She's like, next we'll be locking up the tampons. That's what they shoplift constantly. I said, oh, so that's like $14. Why are these locked up? Wow. Yeah, she said they're the most common thing shoplifted was the teen girls taking press-on nails and tampons. The one thing that was in my notes that I didn't say for that I think is so funny. So there's a movie called Without a Paddle. Like years ago, it was filmed in New Zealand.
Oh, I do know that.
You know that movie?
Yes.
And there was a bear on that movie. Mm-hmm. And I love that I listened to the guys, all 3 guys that were in that movie did like a 20th anniversary or whatever, get together. And they said the bear trainer had 3 rules for the bear. Don't look it in the eyes. Don't turn your back on it. And menstruating women were not allowed to come to set.
What?
Yes. So then I think, wait, what? So when we always hear don't go in the water because of sharks. But are we not supposed to go in the forest if we have our period with bears? What?
Okay, so many, many, many years ago, I had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he loved to camp, so we would go camping together.
Yeah.
But the rule for him was we could not camp if I had my period.
Whoa.
He would not go camping with me if I had my period.
Okay, yeah. I've never heard
and
this.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I was 20, so I'm like, this dude is really weird.
Did he know something?
I guess so, clearly.
I've never heard that about bears.
Yeah, I had not either, but he would not. And I think even one time, I don't know if I lied or whatever, because I was just, this is so stupid.
Yeah. Remember the thing that we talked about that was the TikTok trend about would you rather be stuck in the forest?
Yes.
Actually, that episode hasn't come out with a bear or a man. And then I'm thinking, well, we didn't know about it if we're on our period. That has to factor into that equation. Anyways, I just had to put that out there because I do think that is funny, but also maybe we should be aware. I don't know. Animal experts, please let us know if we should be aware. And then we never talked about, we were so into our last recording, we didn't say any of the feedback we got from our OnlyFans episode, which is one of our most popular episodes. It sparked a lot of conversations.
It sparked a lot of conversations. Yes.
And that actually, to be honest, that's the biggest thing is so many people said to me, oh, I was with this group of friends or that group of friends. And I brought it up and then they would all talk, everyone has an opinion on it or knows something about it. But hadn't really talked about it. So they felt comfortable kind of knowing stuff and bringing it up, which is cool. I think it should be talked about.
It should be talked about. And, we did talk about, we're not judging people. We're just, again, giving information. But interesting that we did have some people say that we got our information wrong.
Oh, okay.
Which was...
Our facts wrong or our opinions are wrong in their mind?
Well, they couldn't give specifics, which I thought was interesting.
Okay.
So, but we do want to say that there are other podcasts out there that...
Yeah, the one...
Becky had found one that actually, and we found it afterwards.
Yeah,
The
Daily.
Actually support a lot of what we said in it.
Yeah, a friend of mine sent me this. The New York Times, The Daily, which I think is always number one on Apple and podcasts when it comes out. So it was Mia Khalifa. It's called The Interview. Mia Khalifa's Messy World of Money, Sex, and Activism. Fascinating episode about her. She's on OnlyFans and very popular and makes money there. But she spends time advocating for young girls to not go on OnlyFans because of her experience and what she knows. And she was in the porn industry before. That's what got her in trouble. She wore, I think, the head garb in it, and that really set her off and kind of ruined her life for a little bit. So then she had to go on OnlyFans to make money. She didn't have any other ways. It's only like 20 or 30 minutes of interview, but really interesting. And just her experience and kind of, she breaks it down as someone who does it and has done it for years and been in the, what we call it, I don't know, sex entertainer, what do you call the porn industry, for most of her life. And she says at least till you're 25, at least till that frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex is developed and you can really make decisions. And the best part I thought she said was the worst reason to join is if you're desperate. If you're desperate for money,
absolutely.
She said, absolutely do something else. That's the worst reason to get into anything where you're selling your body or sex. Yeah. And fascinating. And from someone that's in it, she spoke very well. I was really impressed by her. To be honest, I didn't really know about her. So really good podcast, The Daily. It's a quick one, so I'd check that out. Oh, yeah, Kelly, I have to tell you. So in the body image episode, the influencer that you teased, that you wouldn't say the name, but you said how they impacted you.
Yes.
So many people wrote me saying, is it her? Is it her? And a lot of people guessed right. So you didn't name her, but it's probably who you're thinking it is. I kept meaning to say that.
I think if you're Canadian, it's a pretty easy one to pick out.
Well, now you're just pinpointing it more.
I know, sorry.
And I want to report back that in our first episode, I was desperate for a rom-com, and I couldn't find one. And then Nobody Wants This came out on Netflix, and it was number one forever globally. It's still in the top 10. I've watched it twice, the whole series. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
and I thought, to me, that is a sign that a lot of people were desperate for a rom-com again. And finally, it's like they stopped making them, and now we got one. So I hope that they'll make them again.
Make some more.
Because clearly people just want to lose themselves in that sort of, smart, elevated romantic comedy type show. It's just so comforting.
Well, and I think, too, the world is so heavy right now that sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of an escape and to have some humor and to have some hope.
Yes. So if by some miracle you're one of the only people that hasn't watched Nobody Wants This, absolutely recommend it for just a lighthearted rom-com. And I know that it sounds self-serving because we always talk about the reactions to our sweatshirts. But just yesterday morning again, I had back-to-back people. I was on such a high from the reactions. A girl screamed out loud on the street and ran up to me because she saw it and loved it. And then another woman at the grocery store, she just quietly walked past me. She was maybe more introverted or shy. And she's like, I love that shirt. Good on you.
Aww,
thank you. So then I thought maybe women are feeling a certain way because of the U.S. election. I don't know. It was like the reactions were more emotional than they had been. So maybe it means something different to everyone, which is cool and great. You know, whatever it means to you. I was on a real high.
And we've got our Boxing Days, or not Boxing Day. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm way ahead. Yes, we will have a Boxing Day sale, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Starts with a B.
Yes, we're going to have our Black Friday sale. And we do have some new stuff coming up. So we've got a new water bottle, which is really cool. So we had talked about retro. So both Becky and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And so we've done a retro shirt, which we hope you guys like. And we did the water bottle to match that. We have new
cover art that's kind of retro.
Yes, a new cover coming out. Yeah. And we've got a toque, or AKA a beanie, which I don't know. Beanie sounds beanie. So horrible. I love the word toque. People make so much fun. And they're like, a what?
I know.
If you're Canadian, you know what a toque is. Anyone else in the
rest of the world calls it a beanie.
A beanie. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
And the wine tumblers, which we were asked for.
Wine tumblers, thank you. Yes, we were asked to come up with a wine tumbler, and we have made one for you. So we're really excited to feature those on Black Friday.
Oh, what about the other, I don't know if people know their sweatshirt message that we did.
And we've got a new sweatshirt that says strong women empower women. So we're really excited to bring that. I think actually that is out. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit quickly. I have had a little bit of trouble with the pricing. So if you're going on and thinking our prices are ridiculous, you will be correct. I have, for whatever reason, it was a learning curve for me. I did the prices on one site, and then when it came onto Etsy, apparently it changed the prices, and some of the prices were outrageous. We agree. We're sorry about that. So I believe I've fixed the problem. And I believe that will no longer be a problem because I believe I have figured out what I have done wrong. So take a look again.
Go look again, yeah.
Just in case you're like, what? I can't believe they're charging this much. I have adjusted.
And the link to our Etsy shop is always in our episode notes for every episode of our podcast. So a quick way to find it.
Yeah. And if there's something that you're, like the wine tumblers, if there's something that you're looking for that you want either misbehaving woman or misbehaving mode on, let us know. And we're always looking for new things. Yeah. And we've got some cool stuff coming up in the future. So we're excited to.
I actually haven't even told you this yet, and we can cut it. Okay. But yesterday, because the reactions were so big and it put me on such a high, I thought, what if we make little pins? Oh. And when someone does have that reaction to the shirt, we could give them a little like misbehaving woman.
Oh, I love
pin
that.
Or misbehaving mode.
Okay, let's keep that in.
Okay.
And give us, let us know in the comments if that's something that you would love.
Because some people, it's a little bit bold or confident to walk around with this because you are going to get reactions.
Yes.
So it's tough to do if you're shy, I think, maybe. I don't know. But a little pin to show you're, misbehaving woman.
Yeah, you're still part of the club.
Yeah, you're part of it. But smaller, I think it could be quite cute and nice.
Love it. I think that's a great idea.
The only other thing I have to say for this week is, if anyone has a hookup to get me hard drugs, I think this weekend will be the time I should try them in my life because I am going to a Blippi concert.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, congratulations. I wish that was true for me too. Blippi is a child entertainer who is horrifying.
You've lost me.
Horrifying.
Child entertainer.
Why kids worship this man, I will never understand. Miss Rachel is another kids entertainer who I adore and love, and I think she's incredible. Blippi, I've always tried to downplay Blippi to Abby, but she freaking loves this guy. And he has 100 million views and everything. Disney bought him. Anyways, he's coming to town, and that's going to be Abby's first concert is Blippi.
I think that you should set up a little booth with our misbehaving women's tumblers and some wine. Some rosé for the women. I don't know if that's what you like. We can have white and red too. And as women are walking in with their kids, they get their wine tumbler with their...
I don't think wine's going to cut it. I can barely watch a YouTube video of this guy, let alone in person. There's 30 minutes, then there's a 20-minute intermission. I'm like, why are we doing intermission? All the kids are going to go to the lobby and buy candy? They're already going to be losing their minds. I'm like, let's just get through this thing. 1 hour, boom, then another 30 minutes.
Is this as bad? What is the purple dinosaur? What was the purple?
Oh, yeah, Barney.
I
don't think that exists anymore.
So I thought I was being the greatest aunt of all time. So I bought, and this is CDs, I bought the CD for Barney, for the kids.
Yeah.
At Christmas. My sister almost lost her mind on me. She was very upset with me. And I'm like, it's for the kids in the car. Like, you don't have to listen to it in your house. Like, how bad can it be? And I'd never listened to Barney. I didn't know anything about Barney. I just knew that my nephew really liked Barney. So I was like, okay, let's get the CD.
Yeah.
He can sing along with Barney. So one day I went, picked up the kids, and then my sister was like, put down the window. So I did. And as I put down the window, she threw in the Barney CD and said, kids, Kelli has something for you to listen to. And I was like, oh, you're so dramatic. Whatever. I put it in and I am just like, oh my God. I owe her the biggest apology.
It's something you would do to someone you hate.
Really? Barney is torturous. So if whoever you're going to see is anywhere near as torturous as Barney, I feel for you.
I feel 1,000,000 times more. Just him as a person.
Is that possible?
Yes, Kelli. This guy, I don't even know if I should put, so he originally, I think he just wanted to be famous. He originally was doing videos on YouTube of crazy shit. And I'm using the word shit because one of the things he did was shit on his friend in a YouTube video. To get views. Yeah. He has since sued people, got them all pulled down, anyone that had copies taken down, because talk about something that doesn't fit being a child entertainer.
Oh my God.
And then he said his niece or nephew, he realized there's nothing good for them to watch. So he invented this character. He clearly tapped into something. A lot of parents don't like him because it's like he's talking down to them. His tone is weird. But he figured out something that makes kids obsessed with him.
Why are you going?
Because Effie loves him. It's like what you do for your, if Miss Rachel was coming, I'd happily rather go to Miss Rachel, but I think it's going to make her really happy. I know. I was on the fence about it because I don't want to support Blippi, but she loves his songs. I know.
Okay.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, your face is telling me it's a mistake.
I just feel for you because I feel like if it's worse than Barney, which I really didn't think was possible.
only him, Actually, it won't even be him. So there's other people that tour. That's the other thing I can't wrap my head around. I've seen it. So it's some random actor. And even the original guy, when he sold to Disney, I think, he's out. And they brought in another Blippi. So when you're watching the videos on YouTube, it's 2 different Blippies. And the new guy looks totally different to the old guy. Which, it's so bizarre. And the traveling people are just actors. So I think, do none of the kids realize that that's not the same person? I don't get it.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah, so that's really all that's on my mind right now. And by the time this airs, it will have happened. So I won't be able to get that hard drug hookup.
I found out, so I will talk about this only because I get asked all the time about school. So... yes, here we go. I had said to you, I had to work hard to accept where I am, and I've been doing a really good job going to school. Very good attitude. Like I feel like I've had a really good attitude about it.
You had to work to get there.
I had to work to get there. I'm not going to lie. And there are days that even when I'm sitting there annoyed, I'm like, I really work hard to change my attitude. So we've got next week is study week, and then we've got midterms. I'm nowhere near prepared for any of it, but this is what's happening. And he says, as I'm leaving the one class, and it's always, I'm the first person up, got my bag packed, and I'm heading out, and he says, don't forget, next semester, because he's not going to see us for 2 weeks because our exams are online and we've got a study week. And he says, don't forget, the second semester is 4 hours and it's on Thursday. And I'm like, what? So I had mentally prepared that my 2-hour class was now going to 4. Now I've got 7 hours a week. I've got mentally prepared for all that. But I was not and am not prepared that now I have 7 hours on Thursdays of school. So I do his class back to back. So I do 3 hours and then 4 hours. I think I get an hour break and then I do 4 hours. And I'm like, I can't with him. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And that's all I could think about all the way to the car. I'm just like.
But do you still, on Fridays, is there the 4 hours as well?
No, I decided, they wouldn't let me change.
Oh, okay.
So I never ended up doing the Friday. So now, I was going to school Wednesdays and Thursdays. I have my schedule. So now my work schedule is completely screwed.
Yeah.
Because I'm booked months ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, why does the universe not like me?
It's really making sure you want this.
I know. Yeah. There is just test after test after test.
Interesting.
And then I got into the car and I was like,
surrender.
There's nothing I can do about this. So, and then when I just said, I'm not going to look at my schedule because that's just going to be too much. And now I'm just like, now I got to move people. I got to figure out a whole new schedule. And I'm got to mentally prepare for 7 hours in one day. It's bad enough it was going to be 7 hours and at least I had a break.
Yeah.
Not any longer. So that's my new, for those people that keep asking me, I actually get texts and messages, how's school going? So here we are.
So this is also, please don't bring up school. It's a sore subject.
And it's just at the moment I feel like I've surrendered and I'm like, okay, I'm good with it.
Yeah. Another bomb drops.
Another bomb
Wow,
drops.
Kelly.
I know. And I added up my hours and we're at the midterm and I'm not even halfway into my hours. So I'm like, I don't even think these 2 classes are going to be enough.
Well, but the 7-hour day will help.
It will help, quicker. But it's not going to be, I don't think I'm going to have my 100 hours by the time I think I'm going to have to do another course. Oh. So I'm like, okay. So
that was Finn if people heard that noise.
Oh, yes. Well, when you started out saying we, and I was like, oh, just so you know, the we is not just Becky and I, but we have Finn. He is back in the studio, and he literally, Becky comes in, he's so excited, then he goes, he lays down, and then all I said was, okay, we ready to record? And he got up. And
he really wants to be a co-host.
He does. He's
got a star inside him.
He does. And then I got some DMs asking about his costume. So he went as a bat because literally it was the only thing that we could find.
You put that on Instagram, right?
Yes, I did.
So go to our Instagram.
So go to our Instagram. You can see the Finster. He had, and it was on him. I'm not joking. It was 3 seconds, and all he did was breathe, and it just popped right off. And my girlfriend's here, and I kept saying to him, like, suck it in, buddy. Come on, suck it in. We just got to get some pictures. Like, just enough.
You're such a stage mom.
And she's like, I don't think that's where they're supposed to be positioned. I'm like, it's the only place they're gonna hold on.
The only girl.
And then he was looking at me like, what are you doing? Because I was like, literally, you need to suck it in.
Oh my gosh!
Because it was just like holding on.
I would love a show of dog stage moms. That is what I've seen.
Yeah. And he was so funny. And then I did the photos, and then it literally popped.
It does look adorable.
Yeah, it was cute. I'm really thinking that people must make their own costumes for big dogs. Like, I don't know.
Did you look on Etsy?
I looked on Etsy, I looked on Amazon, but the thing is that he really does. He might, I don't know, maybe in pictures he looks like a small dog. He's got the Bernese Mountain Dogs have a really big chest. And so he's over
100 pounds, right?
Oh yeah, he's about 110 pounds.
Yeah.
So. I don't know.
It's a market opportunity for somebody.
Maybe I need to order early. I don't know. So I'm gonna keep working with it. He doesn't mind wearing them.
Because if you really wanted to do it as a business, you could do all the holidays.
There
you
you
know?
go.
Everybody
So
wants that photo
anybody
op.
who wants to do that, then please DM me and I will buy from you.
You've got your first customer.
Yeah, and I'm only doing Halloween. I don't do any
what
other.
about at Christmas?
Well, no, I just don't think big dogs should have costumes on. Although I will say this. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. So I do buy him and my sister's dog. I do buy them Christmas sweaters.
Who's a tiny dog?
Yeah, who's a very tiny dog. I buy them Christmas sweaters only for the family photo. So we are all matching in the family photo. But he has it on for like 30 seconds. And last year I bought it and it looked like a baby tee on him. As we're doing the picture, I had him in front of me and I was stretching the shirt down because it didn't fit him. So I was stretching it down so that it looked like it fit him. And he doesn't want to move because they're always so tight.
Is she body shaming you right now, Finny? He knows what you're saying. Aww.
Right now, he's...
The look on his face is like, how dare you betray me?
And he's now no longer with me. He's with Becky.
I know, he's come over. He's like, what is she saying about me?
I know, I'm so sorry, Finny. I know. He's the most handsome boy to me. I just think he's so handsome.
Yeah, I'm not a dog person, and I like Finn.
I know. And when I say Becky's not a dog person, she's really not a dog person. Yeah. And Finn just loves her. He just goes over, gets his lovin'.
He's an exception. Exception
is.
of the rule. So today, we're coming up is disparity? Inequality? How do we say this? Women in sports pay. Is disparity a word?
This is so funny that you say that because I have said it a couple of times. Oh, this is our next episode to people that I say paired. I'm like, is it disparity? What? I'm not sure what the word is.
This is why we know it's not talked about enough.
And the funny thing is, I kept saying to myself, I'm like, I need to look this up and get it right before we do it. And clearly neither of us have. So here we are.
Well, even driving over today, I was like, disparity?
Is it disparity?
It is disparity.
Okay.
Well, I should Google that.
That is what we are running with. And if we're wrong, then...
if you're screaming at your phone or the radio in your car right now.
You're like,
I'm sorry.
And yes, we're both blonde.
No. Don't
we
keep
gotta
that
make fun of
going.
ourselves.
Okay.
Gotta.
Okay. Anyway, so that's coming up. Which is not a funny subject, but fascinating one.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go.
I've had a morning ritual now for over 20 years that always begins with a matcha latte. I now drink mud water because the added mushrooms level up my day with natural energy, focus, and immunity support. To purchase, go to mudwater.com/wellness. It brings you to our Misbehaving Women's discount offer. Get $20 off a monthly subscription plus 15%, or go to the 15% off for your first time starter kit. mudwtr.com/wellness.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly.
Okay, disparity was right. You can also say pay inequality or pay disparity. So Kelly and I confirmed something here today. And there's not tons to laugh about in this, so at least that's something to laugh about in this. I don't know if you found, but one thing I found is this is one of the toughest ones to research because so much is changing. And in the last few years, I felt like it's changed in a lot of the sports. So it's hard for me to, is this the latest thing? Is this the latest thing?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's really good because there is a lot of good things coming out of this. And there's some really big names who have made some really big waves.
Yeah.
That is allowing for this change to come.
Yes.
So it's coming.
But if we're wrong, that's probably why, because I found there's so many different facts. And in the last 3 years, it's a lot of changes. So let me know if we got anything wrong, but that would be why. The biggest news, did you see Whoopi's announcement?
No.
This week, she is partnering. I'm sure she was the face picked to partner and get attention. She announced it on Jimmy Fallon, I think yesterday, that she is gonna co-owner or whatever in AWSN.TV, which is the home for women live sports from all over the world.
Beautiful.
So any live women's sporting event, she said, that's going on in the world will be on that network. And I looked at it last night just to see what's going on. It was a lot of Australian sports. Maybe that's because it was daytime there. And it's already in other markets in the world. It's been going. So they're bringing it to the States now. That's huge, I think.
Huge.
Yeah. And having Whoopi as your spokesperson is big. So I was like, perfect timing that she's doing this before we recorded this episode.
Yeah, that's huge. And
Yeah.
there's some really amazing women who have, like, for my kind of hero that
Yeah.
I've been following for quite a while
Yeah.
is Natalie Portman. Like,
Yeah.
I love her
Yeah.
because the thing is that she's like, I'm not an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't have anything to do with sports and yet started the Angel City Football
Yes.
Club. And so that has actually made me follow their club and I
Nice.
watched their documentary. Did you watch the
No.
documentary? So
What's it called?
uh,
Angel City?
I believe it's called Angel
City?
City. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of big owners in that club.
Yes, there
America
are.
Ferrera. who
Yeah.
else?
And I learned a lot from that documentary. It actually really opened my eyes. It's not that I was unaware that, you know, there's pay inequality happening between men and women in sports. But one of the things that really impacted me, more so than anything else, was being able to see, and I don't know who knows her, but you know, Abby Wambach, the soccer
Yeah.
player. And for those who do not know her, she's a retired player. She's a coach. She's a member of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. She's a 6-time winner of the U.S. Soccer Athlete of the Year award. She is beyond amazing.
Isn't that Glennon Doyle's wife?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
That's why I know her.
Oh,
I better,
okay.
I better check that.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the stats for me that is very amazing is she's the highest all-time goal scorer for the national team and is second in international goals for both female and male soccer players with 184 goals.
Wow. Yeah,
Amazing.
she's married to Glennon.
Okay, I didn't know that. And I think what for me, and I can't remember whether or not I had read this or whether it was in their documentary. I have no idea. I don't know where I first read this, but what I did know is because I am a big Kobe fan. I know he's passed, but I'm still an enormous fan of his and the Lakers, obviously. So she was given an award, and she was given an award at the same time as Kobe Bryant and Peyton Manning, and they were given the ESPY award, and it was in recognition of their remarkable contributions to the sport. And this is something that, I don't know, was so shocking to me, I think, when she came out and said that I retired in 2018. I was an Olympian, a world champion. I didn't have much to show for it financially. A few months later, they wanted to give me the icon ESP.
SB.
SB. Okay, see, I always do that, don't I? I did it. What was
I was like, I'm not going to say anything. And then you said it again.
Where did I said something else wrong last time?
The
Do you remember?
PFAS.
Okay, anyone who knows me knows that is a classic Kelly move. Okay. And she says, we got all our awards, and the three of us turned to walk off the stage, and something else bubbled to the surface. It was this kind of rage. I'd spent my whole career comparing myself to only other women. And there was this opportunity that I was getting the exact same award, and three of us were walking into very, very different retirements. The biggest concerns were how they were going to invest their hundreds of millions of dollars that they rightfully earned. So I love that she, recognized that they did get the credit for that. But she says, and mine was, and this is a true story, how was I going to find a job to get health insurance to be able to pay my mortgage that month? in order to change systems, we have to start over and you have to rebuild it with something different. And so when I walked off that stage, I made a promise to myself to help improve the retirement situations of future female soccer players by speaking out against gender inequality in the industry. And to me, that was so impactful to me and so shocking because I did not know. I assumed that she would have obviously not made the same amount as the other two. Like, Kobe, he's, everybody knows Kobe.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows who she is.
Yeah.
Which is not right
Yeah.
because she is the best of the best.
I think she's pretty famous.
She is pretty famous, but she's not Kobe.
She's not Kobe Bryant. Yeah.
Yes. But I would never have assumed, even though I knew there was pay inequality, I would have never assumed that she would be worrying how to pay her mortgage.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that they were paid that little.
Yeah.
That was so shocking to me. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was less, but I didn't know it was that.
Soccer's one of the worst, I found, which surprised me for the inequality in pay.
Well, and this is why I love Natalie Portman, because she decided to make some changes and she's doing that with some really big people. And they wanted to figure out how to formulate better working conditions for their athletes. And they wanted to have better pay. And I believe, I'm correct on this, but I believe that they as in their players I think they get kickbacks from the ticket sales. I think there's something in there that they're doing to help give these players extra money.
They were fined $200,000 for paying too much they went over the pay gap.
Yeah.
And it was only by a little bit. And I'm like, what friggin' bullshit. I get that all the clubs should get paid well, but if one club is making moves to pay the team better, it's a tough one because of course they want the other women to get paid well, but to penalize them for trying
to make change in the world. And why are the other clubs not standing up to that and saying, like, we all have to work together. It's great that their club is doing it because they're starting it, but everybody's got to get on board in order for this to work.
I don't know I'm curious who owns the other women FC clubs.
And are they men or are they women that are owning them?
Yeah.
That's a big question.
Yeah. Now FIFA, I have in my notes, yay FIFA. Because in 2019, they said they would spend $1 billion on women's soccer for over 4 years. And for the 2023 World Cup, they tripled the women's prize pool to over 100 mil, which you might say, good for them. But they were criticized because it's still so much less.
Yeah.
That it's, again, a disparity than what they spend on the men.
But I always say this, we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I understand that people criticize because they're like, well, it's not the same as men.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a process. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It is not going to change overnight. This is something that women are going to have to continue to work for. Is that right? No, probably not.
Yeah. But it's a big chunk and they're trying.
But this is a step forward.
Yeah.
And we have to always be focusing on, for me anyways, let's focus on the wins and then keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Keep that energy going rather than just focusing on what we don't have, because we already know what we don't have.
We are very clear on what we don't have. I thought it was funny that wrestling, like WWE, that is one of the places where women are paid quite well and almost the same as men.
I did not know that.
I know some people might say that's not a sport, but it's the same entertainment style to me as a sport, even if some of it's fake. It's still on primetime TV. It has a huge following. They're pretty balanced. One of the most balanced pays out there. Even at the lower levels of it, male professional wrestlers only make 6% more than females. And then at the higher levels, there's a bit more of a pay gap, like 27%, but they're still getting $350 to $500 at that WWE level. So bizarrely, wrestling is doing well.
I don't know if I consider that a sport. I'm entertainment for sure. So,
but those women are athletes. Like
absolutely,
holy,
absolutely. I do not want to take away from those women. I do not. I'm just saying, if I was going to put it in a category,
But isn't all sports just entertainment?
Yeah, I guess to some degree, yeah.
Right? Why are we watching it? we want to be entertained.
We do, for sure. I think everybody has different reasons. Some people, it's like life or death.
Yes,
I feel
it's their
like.
their village, or it's that mindset, right? Humans have,
Yeah.
like, this is my tribe.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you found tennis seemed to be the best at paying women the same as men.
No,
Oh, you didn't find that?
no, I did. Because
Oh.
I knew you were going to do all that research. I felt like
Oh, I
wanted
thought you were going to
stick
say a
it-
different
Oh,
sport.
no. I kind of stuck to my soccer and basketball because those
Oh,
are the
okay.
things that
Yeah.
I like.
Basketball's doing good.
Okay. No,
So tennis
great.
made moves to increase equal. Okay, we'll get to that. To increase equal pay in all four of their major tennis tourneys, which everybody knows those ones are on TV. They're a big deal. And offer equal prize money, which they're the only people doing equal for men and women. And in the 2023 top 10 list of the top paid female athletes, they were all tennis players.
Amazing.
Like 51 million for Naomi Osaka, Serena 41 mil, Elaine Gu 20. The lowest was 15 mil. And it also offers all their players big marketing opportunities. So bravo to tennis, because you are killing it in terms of having no pay inequality.
Yeah. I think that's a hard sport. Gosh, I think tennis is a very hard sport.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
But for young girls, that's what I found disheartening. There's girls in my life that are incredible athletes, could get scholarships on multiple sports, and they said to me, "But why would I? If I'm going to university and giving time to this sport, what am I going to do with it? I can't get paid." So they don't consider it even remotely a career option because it's not.
Yeah.
Right?
I would like to see hockey change for girls because
Yeah.
I do know a few young girls that love to play hockey.
Yeah.
Are really good at the sport.
Yeah.
I know a couple of young girls who actually could have done something with soccer, chose not to
Yep.
because they just couldn't.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
Unless you're on Team Canada or Team U,
Yeah.
right? And even then, you're not paid well.
I know.
Yeah, that is the impact on future generations of girls. That is what it needs so much help.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the UN had written something to say that sports has the power to change lives. And I love that. I love that they're recognizing that this is something that is super important and not just for boys, but also for girls.
Yes.
And it's the ability to drive gender equality by teaching women and girls teamwork, self-resilience, and confidence.
Huge for self-esteem is girls in sports.
Yeah, so I love that.
So getting to basketball, so I found what really sparked people talking about it this year, like never before, was Caitlin Clark. It was like that moment where, so if you don't know, she was she is the basketball point guard.
Yep.
She was the University of Iowa. And then she had this extraordinary record-breaking year. And then on a high note, she was the first in the WNBA draft. And then it came out that her salary was $338,000 over 4 years. And then the NBA's draft pick salary was $55 million.
Yes.
For Victor.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
say
what I had in my notes.
So that really got finally the attention it deserves in
Yes.
2023. People saying, "What the fuck?" Right?
Yeah. Especially because, again, like, these girls are working just as hard as these men are, but not being able to, how do you even take care of your families this day and
Totally.
age and be able to play professionally?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting how the NBA pays people. I didn't know this. So all their revenue, the players get a percent.
Mm-hmm.
So for men, that's always been 50% of the revenue goes to player salaries. And their annual revenue is $10 billion with a B.
Yeah.
And then the WNBA makes $200 million a year. And in 2020, up until 2020, they were only getting 20% of that. So it's like less revenue. And that they upped it to 50%.
Yeah.
So as they get more and more attention, the WNBA, which I think it is, like 2023 it started, those salaries have the potential to increase.
Yeah. And I think it's really sad too that, that Kobe has passed away, because I think he was a big driving force in helping get young girls interested in basketball. And I think he would have been a very big force down the road to help girls get equal pay.
Yeah. His daughters, he was coaching their team, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and she's the daughter that passed away,
Yeah,
unfortunately. So,
yeah.
and his team's still around, but I feel like you need to have these big names
Yes.
behind it, and especially somebody who has made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars through it, not just basketball, but obviously he's made way more in his endorsements than he's ever made in basketball.
Yep.
But a driving force to be able to open those doors for girls.
Yes. Caitlin Clark, her Fever jersey from the Fanatics, which is like the online sports realtor. I guess they have the contract for them. It broke the draft night record for any draft pick in any sport, which is huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
And she has deals. She got 10 big companies. She got Wilson. She got Nike for $28 million in her own shoe, which how many people other than Michael Jordan have their own shoe with Nike? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gatorade, like she got big companies. So I think she was like a catalyst that I hope we now see a win for other girls in basketball.
Well, I'm hoping that these obviously like Nike and Adidas and, you know, big companies like this are seeing the opportunity for them to be able to open the market for women to be able to have these endorsements, but also to see that they can be just as profitable.
Yes. And it's not just because she's a woman. People love watching this girl. Yeah. I think in the same way they love watching Kobe or Michael Jordan. Like she makes very, very hard shots, which fans love, right? And she's very competitive. So a fan can really get behind her and get into that. So, you know, she's backing up getting these deals just like the boys do, which I love.
Well, and the fact that now there's a place for women's sports to be played, I think that's going to make a big difference because it's the media. That's the biggest reason why women sports they don't have the media attention. Which,
I don't know what you're going to get everyone for Christmas, but I want to get everyone the Everyone Watches Women's Sports t-shirts. They were huge. They really, at the Olympics, the Summer Olympics this year, they really broke out. A lot of celebrities were wearing those shirts. They did a French version for the Olympics, only limited edition. You can't get those anymore. I don't think. They're $63 Canadian. I love the font. They're very nice if people want to get them for people in their life.
I think that's awesome.
Just putting that out there, right? That for people to realize there's no difference in loving watching men play a sport and watching women play a sport. And before we did this, I wanted to do self-reflection. I thought, wait a minute, okay, what sports do I watch that women play? And so for me growing up, the Olympics was huge in my household. And as an adult, I've taken vacation time when the Olympics is on. I friggin' love it. And so if Team Canada's in anything, I'm watching men or women. I'm very into that. This year, the women's soccer team, I was standing in front of the TV screen screaming, you know, for every match. They just were incredible what they overcame and how well they played. So for that, I definitely watch women's sports. And then I would say, I think growing up, there was always sports on in my house constantly. My brother was an incredible athlete, always had sports. So I watched him most of my free time. Of course, I played sports too, but I feel like maybe I capped out. I'm like, I've seen enough sports in my life to not have it be on every night or every weekend. And I love watching my nieces play. That is actually girl sports I watch. They're incredible athletes, and I love going to their games. Anything Team Canada, but otherwise, I don't watch men's sports regularly, but now, like, if there was a channel like Whoopi's got, I would totally watch women's soccer. I love watching women's soccer. And I do want to check out this Caitlin Clark. I want to see her play. Being honest, I haven't seen her play, but she sounds incredible. I want to see this. Yeah. So I'm like, I think there's maybe a lot of people that will get into it now. It's not in the media too, so you don't fall in love with people the way you do that are on the news every night in the sports highlights.
Yeah, and we can't forget about the women, Team Canada, the hockey team for women. Like, incredible. They are the most kick-ass women. Yes. Come on. Yeah. So you cannot tell me that is not as exciting as watching men play hockey.
Totally.
Come on.
Well, almost all in the Olympics in the summer, like Team Canada, it was all the women winning all the medals, right? And swimming and everything.
Yeah, women are kick-ass.
We're kick-ass.
Yeah.
We have to, I think, work that much harder. And they're not doing it for the money, too, right? Because there isn't money.
There isn't money.
Unless you're in tennis or wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I think that Serena and Venus Williams, like,
Yeah.
they really changed the game
Yeah.
of tennis for women.
They're otherworldly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching them play is.
And I think what also made them so successful is, yes, they're obviously, you can't dispute that they are not the best at tennis, but they were also really good businesswomen.
Who's not the best at tennis?
No,
The
I just
women?
said you can't dispute they're
Oh,
not.
sorry. Got it. Okay.
And I
I'm
know-
like, what?
No, you can't dispute they're not the best
Yeah.
at tennis.
Yeah.
But they're also really good businesswomen. And I
Yes.
think that's the other thing about Michael Jordan. Watch his documentary. Like,
So
he
good.
knew what he wanted, and
Yeah.
he went after it. And he was fearless in going after what he wanted.
You mean the thing on the Bulls?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. What was
Yeah.
that called?
But he was fearless in asking for what he wanted. That's,
Yeah.
that's a really big thing. And with women, we're maybe not as good as not as good at asking for what it is that we want. And maybe we know secretly what we want, but asking for it is a really hard thing. But
And
this,
he would have grown up dreaming of that.
Yeah.
Little girls don't have that opportunity because what is there to dream of? What are you seeing that you think, I'm going to be a soccer player when I'm older,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
There is something like people like Michael Jordan who have such a belief in themselves.
Yep.
And you see that in that doc. I think there's something to it. Like even in other genres, these people that you'd almost say they're a bit delusional. Like how can you so adamantly be like, I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world.
Yep.
But then they do become that. There's something for just believe in yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you have to have that. You
With the
have to
hard
have
work,
that.
but wow.
Yeah, I think that dedication is a really big one. You have to be able to show up every day for yourself.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's going on in your life,
Yes.
you have to show up every
Yes.
single day for yourself.
Because Nike wouldn't have given him what he asked for.
Yeah.
He had to ask for it and think I'm worthy of it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, his parents were big supportive of his too, but
Yeah. But I think for me, a big lesson in all of this is understanding that it's no longer enough to be good at what you do. You need to be able to be an advocate for yourself. You need to have your worthiness, I guess.
yeah.
And also you have to understand business.
Mhm.
And I say this all the time to young girls, like you have to understand the game of business. You have to understand finances. You have to understand
How to market yourself.
how to market yourself and to be your own advocate or for whatever it is that you want, and dream big. Men have always had the opportunity to be able to dream big, and women haven't. And now that is changing. And now you can dream as big as you want, and don't be afraid to go after it.
Yeah. And the data doesn't lie for people watching women's sports. In the first 4 months of 2024, more people watch women's sports than ever before in history. Deloitte said that this year, for the first time, women's pro sports it'll be more than $1 billion, which is a 300% increase just from 2021. And I think that number will continue now to just skyrocket. It got the attention it deserved. People realized we've got a network now. So there is still a big, disparity.
There is.
But
But at the same
there's
time,
change.
there's change happening because there's no company out there that wants to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
So if they think that they can profit off this, then go for it, profit off it, but ensure that these women are well taken care of.
Yes. And I want to kind of there's always these reasons people give of why people don't watch women's sports, for the haters or whatever you want to call them. People that watch a lot of men's sports but don't watch women's sports. And one is, I broke it down to 3 things. One is media coverage. I already talked about that. When you see something on the news every night getting highlights, or the media follows people and you fall in love with them, they weren't doing that for women. So of course they're just not they're not on the right platform. Yeah. So I hope that already is, but that is a thing. That's what happens. How do you fall in love with these players? They're on the interviews, they're on the news, they're getting, things on them.
Well, if I can just interrupt here, one of the greatest things Netflix has done for men's sports, and the F1 was a really big one, is that they highlighted each one of the drivers. You got to know the drivers. So then you got to start to root for whichever driver that you resonated with. Netflix needs to start doing this for women
Yes.
and start following the different women's sports.
Yeah.
And so that we can, again, fall in love with these different players.
Yes.
And that's what happened for me watching the Angel City documentary.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it
definitely gonna
allowed
watch
me to get to know the different players and to see where they're coming from, because they're all coming from different places.
Yeah.
And now I follow, and I know they call it football. They don't call it soccer. I still call it soccer.
Yeah.
But that's what happened to me. And I realized that that's what Netflix is so good at doing,
Yes.
is being able to highlight different. And I think they've done it for not just F1. They've done it for other sports too. I think they've got the tennis, and I can't remember.
I think I heard someone say they did a thing on the gymnasts.
Well, oh yes, they have.
Yeah.
But it's the young girls. It's the young
Oh,
girls
it's a
in
scandal?
Texas.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh,
The-
you mean the
the
cheerleaders?
cheerleaders.
Oh, that was so
Maybe-
good.
yes.
Yeah. No, I mean the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team. I think they have followed some of
Oh
those.
yes,
I haven't seen it, but I heard someone say
Biles.
they
Yes,
really fell in
they
love
followed
with.
her. So
Okay.
maybe that was it.
Yeah. We need more of that.
Well, we definitely need more of that.
And also for female production companies to go out there, and there's an audience for it,
Yeah.
right? To do these projects. So the other why was finances. People tried to say, oh, well, there's just more money in men's sports. People don't watch women's sports, so there's no money in it. Well, we've proven that that's not true now, and
Absolutely.
the numbers don't lie, so that's bullshit. Like, let's put that aside of anyone out there, which a lot of people are still trying to say, oh, yeah, I don't watch that. I don't even think people realize how brainwashed they are. If you'd grown up watching it, you'd watch it. It's just, to add it in feels, I think, for some people, they're just not used to that.
Well, how many little girls play sports? Like when I was a little girl, we had very few options for what we could actually play. And look at
really?
now, like hockey. That no girl ever played hockey, football. It wasn't allowed.
Really?
Yeah, there's
Oh, my sister-in-law is an incredible hockey player.
yeah.
I think she could have got 3 scholarships, different sports at university.
Wow.
She's such an incredible athlete. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure hockey was one of them.
But little girls are watching it, so
Yeah.
that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the one that's asking for this.
Yes.
And they're the ones and you can't tell me that they're not going to watch it, because little boys are watching hockey, football. Their dads are sitting down with them and watching.
It's part of the family ritual.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was always in my house, like Monday night football,
Yeah.
Sunday football. And there's something on Saturday. If you watch the CFL, there's always football or hockey, which is lovely in some, in a lot of ways.
Well, I was the one that always watched all the sports and did all the sports things. Like with my dad, I went to, I grew up across from Detroit, so Detroit Tigers. We went to
Oh,
baseball
yeah, that'd be
games,
fun.
Detroit Lion games.
Yeah.
I went to Piston games.
Nice.
So sports has always been a big thing. I'm the one, and the Michigan Wolverines. My dad had season tickets. I think he still does. And
Wow.
goes to the college football. There's nothing like it. If you've never been to a college football game,
Yes.
there is nothing like it.
My parents are very into that. They've gone and done the stadium tours, like in the States for their
wow.
favorite teams. Yeah.
Yeah, there is nothing like it. So you can't. I watched all the sports as a kid, and that was like a really big bonding time with my dad.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's nice memories, right?
it's really nice
Yeah.
memories, and I'm so appreciative that I had that. And then later on in life, my stepdad, he was a huge, I feel bad saying this, he was a huge Toronto Maple Leafs fan, because I say I feel bad because they're still waiting for the Leafs to do something. And my brother-in-law, the same thing too. But it's nice to, see that times are changing. Girls do watch sports. I was one of them. And so there's lots of girls. And I've got my niece who played baseball. There's lots of girls who
Totally.
love sports.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 of my nieces here are incredible at softball. And all the sports they played, like they could play rep in it, But again, it is tough when you're like, well, after university scholarship, it can't be an option for you, which it should be just the way it is for boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I had read online when I was trying to research, what can we do? Like, what is it that we can do to help these women? And one of the biggest things that came up was, if you love a female athlete, follow them on social media. And that's one way that you can really show your support, is being able to help, because the numbers mean everything in social media, and getting these girls the attention that they need and having bigger platforms will also help them when they're trying to get sponsorship. So if you love them, follow them and
watch the
watch
sport.
them. Yeah, but follow them is like a
Yeah.
really great way to help
Yeah.
them be able to get recognition.
The marketing deals.
But
Yeah.
now that there's a channel to be able, so now all the little girls are going to be, I don't know if little girls are listening to us, but now it's like,
Well, they would have heard Whoopi said this.
yeah, will be asking for this channel.
Yep. By the way, so both my nieces play rep softball. Well, one's in university now, but and plays softball. In 2026, there's going to be a women's pro baseball league starting with 6 teams in the States.
Amazing.
So that's another start for girls. I love watching women's softball, especially at a competitive level.
Yeah.
It's so good. The other why that I just want to bring attention to is it's kind of what you touched on, the history, which people have to realize matters here. Women weren't supported like culturally in playing sports. It's interesting to me that you didn't have opportunities for a lot of sports.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. First of all, I am the least athletic girl. If you know me, I'm a yoga girl. I would do yoga, Pilates, hiking.
Well, you might have been good at gymnastics.
And I'm really good. And I am. I'm going to give myself a shout out. I am very, very, very good at basketball free throws.
Oh.
Okay. I am a million times better than Shaq. Let's just say that.
What?
Yes. I would do circles around Shaq. My whole family, there is nobody in my family, and they will all agree with this, that nobody can free throw better than me. So we played 21. A couple years ago, when we bought our house on the coast, the first thing I wanted was a basketball net, because I love basketball. I love shooting hoops. It's my favorite thing. And no one, well, I'm sure I've definitely lost some games, but no, I'm way ahead.
Wow.
I am very good. So my nephew, who's about, 6'1", 6'2", he's a very tall guy. I said to him, do you want to play 21? And he's like, Aunt Kelly. And he's kind of rolling his eyes at me. And I said, I'm really good. And he laughed. And everyone in the family's like, no, she's like really good. And he's like, okay, whatever. And and I kicked his ass.
Nice.
And that night, he was out and he was practicing, and I'm like, so what are you doing out there? And then my sister's chiming in. She's like, he's trying to figure out how you beat him.
So you don't even practice. You're just a natural.
Even in public school, we had a free throwing contest. And again, I just did really well.
So you could have been on the team, because that's a huge skill. If you can just make those 3-point shots. That's huge.
I'm really good at 3-pointers.
Yeah.
I do not know why. And it's bizarre. I'm 5'4", okay? And I am the least coordinated person.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I can shoot hoops. It's the most bizarre thing. I can just do it. And
well, it's not bizarre.
It is really bizarre.
So don't say you're not athletic. That's an athletic skill.
No, because I just stand there and throw the ball.
You just need people defending you. Like, no one touch me. Get me the ball and defend me. And you could just keep making 3-pointers.
Yes. I might pass out having to run back and forth. Like, I'm not a runner by any means. But if I can just stand there and throw 3-pointers are my favorites.
Nice.
And it's so funny to see them go in. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Nice.
I love doing it. We go away and there's a basketball net. I'm like, who wants to play 21?
Nice.
Yeah. And everyone looks at me and they're like, I'll play you.
Yeah.
And
you
then
can make some money on this.
Can school them. I really love doing it. But what I was going to say is that, for being able to be somebody who's not athletic.
You are athletic then. You don't have to be good at every sport to say you're athletic.
Oh, okay.
No.
I would never consider myself in it. It's kind of like surfing. I love surfing, but I would never say I'm a surfer. I say that I attempt to get up on a board.
Can you stand up?
I have stood up.
Okay.
That's how I would say it. That's why I would say I would never be like, oh, I'm a surfer. Yes, I can get up. It's
Okay.
staying up is
Then you're
another-
surfing. You can say you're a surfer.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't say
You don't have to say you're doing the barrel roll things to be a surfer.
Yeah, see, to me, that would be a surfer. Otherwise,
Really?
it's just out there having fun, enjoying
You're
the
not
waves.
giving yourself credit. It sounds to me like you're athletic. And your yoginess, I bet you would be really good at gymnastics.
Right now, my family and friends are killing themselves laughing at me saying that. They are rolling over.
Well, people could disagree with me, but I know some people are like, actually, my niece who's great at basketball, any sport, any game, she is amazing at. She's just a natural. Both my nieces. My one really pinpointed on softball, but the other one plays basketball. She has incredible plays with the older girls, all that stuff. Some people are like that. They were just born that way. But I think if you're really good at one sport, like if you can just make 3-point shots, you would be on the team. That's a huge skill. I don't think you have to. It's different. I don't know. They can come and fight me on it, but I'm going to say you're athletic. You could do
hilarious.
that. Just wrapping up this point on history is, I know my mom, she went to McGee and there was no rugby team in their high school for girls, and her friends started a rugby team. And by the time they graduated, they got a coach in grade 12.
Wow.
That was in 72. And that's the same year the U.S. government finally mandated equal funding. There wasn't even equal funding in educational programs until the 70s, which that's not that long ago,
No.
right? For boys and girls in school, so in sports. So when you think, what was that, like 50? I always think the year 2000 is my cutoff. I'm like, it was 30 years ago. No, it was 50 years ago. But that's not that long to look at how far we've come, because there already was a ton of funding and effort put into boys' sports in schools. They were already growing up with this. So the history is also a reason that people need to recognize of why we're kind of playing catch up here, right? If we'd always had the same opportunity, I think women's sports already would be a huge thing with big money.
Yeah.
Because female athletes, they're just as incredible as the best male athletes to watch.
Well, they work just as hard, and I think that's a really big
there's-
thing.
It's as fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
It is entertaining. I can't wait to watch this Caitlin Clark, based on the way people said she does these incredible shots. Like, that's why I love watching Michael Jordan. It's like a otherworldly. I don't know what to say.
Well, and I think this is my opinion, and people can definitely agree with this. I think that there are the exceptions to the rule. Like Michael Jordan is an exception to the rule. Kobe is an exception to the rule. They were born with natural raw talent.
Yes.
And they took that and they worked it to the absolute, extreme.
But Jordan wasn't. Like, based on the doc, he wasn't the best player.
No, but the thing is that, but he had he had to work at
He
getting.
worked
He worked it, but that's what I'm saying though. But they were definitely born with something different than somebody else, because there are a lot of other people who have worked hard and could not achieve.
Do you think so? I think he's a testament that you don't have to be born with it. He just worked his ass off. He barely made the high school team.
I don't. I think there's something. I think there's natural, because he didn't. I think he was born with something natural, but he had to work on that.
He had to work very hard.
Yes. But so did Kobe. But think about how many other people, and maybe it's work ethic, maybe it is, but I always think that there is something. He was meant to do this. There was nothing in him that was never. Like David Beckham, same thing. You know what I mean? Yes, his dad.
Another great documentary.
Yes. But his dad, some people might say it's even abuse to the amount
his
that
dad's
he worked him.
Yeah.
But he had something there. And these people were meant to do this. Like, it was definitely
that's a whole other I think it's so disturbing those boys get sent off to those camps when they're like 13.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, it paid off for them.
But there's something about that. There is some natural gift I think they have, but they're taking that natural gift and working it to the extreme.
But again, was it a natural gift? The way his dad worked him, I don't know if it was natural or he just created this.
I think his dad saw it in him.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that I don't know. That's my opinion. I
mean, it was next level craziness what he made him go through as a child. Just every day, nonstop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're testaments that if you don't have the talent, if you work hard enough, you can, maybe you're not the best, but you can get pretty far.
But that's why I'm saying, like, I think the rest of the players on the team are people who have worked
Didn't
really
have that
hard.
talent, but
Didn't
worked
have-
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can't say there's nobody on, and I'll just use this as an example of the NBA. There's not a single player in the NBA that hasn't worked to get where they are.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So because they had to beat out everybody else.
Yeah.
And there's tons of people who have worked really hard and never made it.
Right.
So that's why I believe personally that there is something different
Okay.
about them. There
Okay.
is something inherently in them that is different. And
Okay.
that can be that natural talent is there, but also the drive and also the what's the word I want to use? Like the dedication that they have. Like there's no excuses. They always
I
show
think
up.
yeah, grit. No matter what happens, they're there
Yes.
practicing. They missed out on a lot in life because they weren't practicing every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in the gym or whatever
Yeah.
they had to do. Yeah, I'm with you. Watching game
Yeah.
tapes, all that stuff.
And if I can say about women, I feel like there are those women that have that natural raw talent that are also have that drive and everything else that they need to be able to succeed. And I think to compare men and women also, we go through a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these women have families and maybe have kids, or, these women also have menstrual
I
cycles.
was going to say, or it's the Olympics and you got your period.
Yeah, but they still got to show up.
Yeah.
And this is maybe a little off topic, but I just wanted to compare the difference between men and women. One of my favorite things to watch on social media is the period stimulators and the women who put the period stimulators on men, and they put them on themselves, where the period stimulator can go up to, I think it's a 10, and the women are just standing there where you've got a 1 or 2 and the guy is like totally, on the ground in pain. And it's
Where it's like
hilarious.
cramping, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just to show the grit that women have and what we deal with.
What we get used to being like, it's normal.
Yeah.
Got to be in this
Yeah.
meeting.
And I love the reactions of a man. And they're like, oh my God, turn it off, turn it off. And she's like, you're at a 1.
I'm so curious to put that on and see what, like, because I would be flabbergasted
Yeah.
if they were acting that way and you're like, this is a mild cramp.
Well, there's a family that I love. So I don't know how many there are, but there's one of the sisters and there's the 2 brothers, and they're in the, maybe it's a 3 brothers. Maybe the sister's not in the library, but they're in a library and they've got the period stimulators on 2 of them, and they're not allowed to make a noise. And one of the brothers, I cry laughing. It is so
Wow.
hilarious because all of a sudden he just lets out these like squeals, and they can't stop moving because they're in so much pain, but they're at like a 2 or a 3. And then there's another one with the sister, and she's at a 10, and they're all like, what is going on? And she hasn't even moved. She hasn't even made a facial expression. Nothing. So
Is this on like Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
you
it's
should-
on, it's
oh.
on TikTok or Instagram. I'll send
Share
it to you.
We'll
Oh my
share it
gosh.
on our page. so
We
people
will.
can- yeah.
They are hilarious. I just love them so much because it really shows
Yeah.
how much women go through every month
Every
and what we
month.
still show up in our lives. And this is we're not just talking about sports. We're talking about we show up to work. We show up to events. We show up to whatever we have to, regardless.
I know. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things that's been normalized.
Yeah.
You're like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Right? You can't go and be like, I have my period. I can't come in for a week.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry, I can't show up for the game today.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's the Olympics. I guess I won't go.
I know.
I've been training my whole life.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I want to say is all women and not just sports. I want to make the point. We've focused on sports today. The average American woman earns 83% of what men earn, just in everything, right? So already we still have such a big weight. With sports, it's really glaring and obvious and getting attention, but it still hasn't even happened in the world.
Well, it's interesting that you saw it because I thought I was looking for this in my notes. I had something like it was less. It was 70 something percent. It was like, I can't remember if it was 73% or 78% women overall make
This
less.
was from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I'm sure, I don't know. That's from a government, that's a government website.
My statistic because I can't find it.
It said it between 80 and 84% since 2004, and then it's at 80. It's that's the thing. It hasn't really moved since 2004. We're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Not getting to that 100%, not even getting to 90%. We haven't solved anything, but I think this should spark conversations. I hope this sparks conversations and bring it up to, at family dinners, meals. If there's a sports game on of men, say, oh, would you put on the Women's Network and let's see what's on there? Follow your favorite athletes, watch their docs that are on Netflix. I think we can all make a little impact, and then that creates a big impact.
Absolutely. And like I said, follow your favorite women on social media, and make sure that you're supporting them in whatever way, whether it's, merchandise or watching their games, whatever you can do to help these women get some recognition. Oops, sorry, that's Finn.
Finn's like, it's enough.
It's enough.
Okay, Finn.
Enough.
Okay.
He's a man who's looking to make some change for women.